Wonderful day and welcome. My name is Seth and we are finally back with the Beginner's Guide Reboot series. As some of you did know or not know, but I had some technical issues for the last couple of weeks. And now that I kinda settled in with like a new setup and other stuff, it's a little bit better and I pretty much got back into the flow a bit. It's still not perfect, like there's some issues still happening with sound. For example, the sound needed some tweaking and gave some errors and whatever. So I hope the sound for the video is fine and let me know if there's any more issues or whatsoever. Because I'm glad to be finally back. We do have still a few things to cover in Frontier, which includes like guild and caravan, etc. But one of the more basic things we didn't really cover yet is the blacksmith and pretty much the equipment related stuff around Frontier in general, which is actually a huge thing and we shall take care of it right now. And for that we obviously need to go to the blacksmith. Inside of the blacksmith, we did obviously talk about the NPCs before, but just for the sake of the video, I will go really quickly over them again. We have over here to the left, next to the equipment box pretty much, your cat and your AI partner, which we covered in their own videos, so no more need to go into detail here. You can just do the same things you could do at your house, the settings and changing equipment, etc. Then we have the tower gear Fairline, which is only responsible for tower gear pretty much. The master Fairline, which is here for mainly your cat equipment, but also for sigils or RNG weapons. Then we have the main smithy guy, of course, which is related to everything regarding decorations and your main equipment for your character or your partner. And then we have the workshop store lady, which has basic equipment you can buy for just money without any materials needed and using the warehouse system. Technically there's one more NPC here, which is the gacha cat, and she's located here. As you maybe tried out before and tried to teleport over here to this section in the blacksmith, you notice that if you try to teleport to the gacha cat, it brings you right here. This is because the gacha cat is normally located right at this spot, and she is technically there. She's just not functional and for the general everyday use yet. Will be available in the future at some point, but for now, just the hints up, the cat will be here for the gacha stuff. Gacha stuff, for everyone who doesn't know, is obviously the real game money loot box system in Frontier. And yeah, gonna see how that works out, right? And we're gonna cover it, of course, as soon as it will be available at the game. So let's take a look at the first NPC, which is the main guy. He probably has the most to cover, so we're gonna check him out first. You can choose between doing stuff for yourself or your partner if you have a partner. So this is like separated. But we're gonna go at the player section, of course, and the player section has weapons, armors, decorations, skill cuffs, and two more sections, which is just information and popular. Information is the little info cards you get when you rank up, where the blacksmith gives you like information or recommendations, suggestions, etc. What is available, what is new, or what you should do. Then we have the popular section, which I'm not exactly sure how this works. I was under the assumption that if you're like in a more populated area or like server, that it kind of like lists the weapons and equipments which are like crafted the most, maybe in a set period of time. But I don't think it works like that. Apparently it didn't seem like it. I was like hanging around in the Rain's server, of course, and then checking out the popular section, and there was not much change than what it usually is. It could be that it's maybe handled somewhere else, but this is the impression I had from this feature to be used. Maybe it works differently or it has a different purpose. I guess I need to ask the Wish about it, but for now this is like all I know about it. Then we have obviously the skill cuffs, which are Poogie exclusive decorations we talked about in the other video. And then we have decorations, armors, and weapons. Decorations shall be straightforward. The thing to keep in mind here is that decorations do use the armor system, so you can't put SP decorations in non-SP equipment. You also can't put G-rank decorations into G-rank, non-G-rank equipment. So you can't put like a G-rank Asian herb decoration into your leather armor, of course. You need a G-rank piece or a G-rank level piece to use these. Not to confuse with G decos. I'm not sure why this is. This is maybe something we should may fix in the translation, perhaps. But this says Hermit G, but it is a normal decoration. It can be used in normal decoration slots. Maybe a translation thing, because some of you maybe know that the translation we used as base was like mostly machine translated, so some stuff is like kind of wonky and whatever. Obviously, we go focusing on the areas first which are not translated, so things like this which are already translated maybe being a bit off when they're not looked over or reworked yet. But we're gonna get there, right? Then we have also the Refine GX Deco section. There's a system in the game where you can turn armors, fully upgraded armors to the GX level into decoration slots. What I mean is you can upgrade an armor piece to GX level and then you can melt this equipment piece into a decoration and getting the skills it provides, or like stated. It is a way, but as you know, the game is pretty grindy, so most people probably won't using the refining version, so you probably just want to craft them directly, and that is what this section is mostly for. Other than that, you can just get an armor and turn it into it. The GX 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 basically just means it is corresponding to an armor piece. Like, I think this is GX1 is like head, chest, or arm, and then here armor, chest, waist, and legs. This is all that means. GX1 is always like a head piece. The other ones are like the other pieces of armor, so don't get confused by that. And yeah, you can also just grind, max out an armor to GX level and then meld it into decoration. Obviously you lose the armor piece in the process, so that's why it's like very grindy and most people won't probably use it. It's a neat thing though, because you can choose either to make it with like certain materials which are either harder to obtain or something, or just grinding, and then getting a reward for grinding another armor piece beside maybe your main setup, right? Or you have maybe some armor pieces you used before, you don't use anymore, like a previous armor set, but the skills were pretty neat, but the armor doesn't hold up anymore at your rank, a G rank, so you maybe want to like upgrade this fully and then, yeah, to get the skills from it maybe. And then obviously you have also normal decorations, and you can set and remove decorations from the Blacksmith itself too. So much to that. Before we go to armors, we're gonna go to weapons first. Weapons are pretty straightforward. We have normal weapons, we have goo weapons, which are HR5 weapons. We have G Supreme weapons, which are HR5 weapons, but the G version, which you can directly craft. You can also upgrade the goo weapons into G rank Supreme weapons, so don't worry about it. This is just another way to directly craft the G equivalent. Then we have also the normal G rank weapons. Then we have the level G weapons mechanic, the exotic weapons, the evolution weapons, which are Raviente weapons, Zenith weapons, and gacha and like premium weapons pretty much. Normal weapons should be straightforward. These are like your everyday normal crafting pieces, some event stuff, like some special craftings, etc., rush shards, and so on. And if you have the preview feature installed, then the names will be yellow on the left side, which is pretty hard to read, but you see the names obviously on the right side too, over the stats, so that's not a big deal. But if it's yellow, this usually means you can preview the upgrade paths with the preview patch. As you see on the top left, it says info, and this means you can see the upgrade path of a weapon and its corresponding like branching paths, turning into other weapons, for example, before crafting it, and then see the stats all the way to the max upgrade, including materials needed for each upgrade. So this is pretty handy. The same goes for armors. You can do the same there. You can see which slots it gets, which upgrades, etc. But we're gonna get that in a second. Then we have HR5 weapons, as I mentioned, the G weapons, the G rank weapons, and the level GR weapons. So G rank weapons have a very specific system. This system includes a version that you can upgrade G rank weapons per level. You can see there's next to the name on the right side a number 1. This means this weapon is level 1. G rank weapons are upgraded up to 50 times to level 50 or 49 because we are on level 1 already. But you can upgrade it to like 49 times and then have maximum level 50. There are some very few exclusions which have an upgrade after the level 50, which is the G finesse upgrade, which is just another like level 50 upgrade you can do. As you can see here, the Shantien sword, for example. The preview feature, as you maybe know, does look for branching paths and upgrade tiers. So since the G rank weapons don't have a fixed upgrade tier or branching path, they are like have levels which increases just the stats over time. They don't use the preview feature, or it doesn't work with them. That's why they are disabled. But as you can see here, the Shantien sword has one. That is because the Shantien sword can go into a G finesse upgrade. Because if you do it, as you can see here, this is the maximum upgrade after the level 50, which is the G finesse one. And obviously, this is the max stats it has at the end. So everything in between will be like the level 50 upgrades. But generally for the G rank weapons, you probably need to just check out the database if you're looking for one of these and their final stats pretty much. Then we have the exotic weapons, which is straightforward, the exotic monster weapons pretty much. There's a little bug with the preview feature, so if you check out any exotic equipment, I'm not sure why it does that, but if you check any exotic equipment with the preview feature and then go back, it like pushes you into another category of the equipment crafting. It's a little bit annoying, but nothing I can fix. It's just how the game handles it. I don't know why it does that. It's fine, I guess. It's just a little inconvenience. You just need to go back into the exotic like category. Like as you can see here, if I go in exotic and then check out this great sword from Zinogre, oh yeah, cool. And then I go back and then iron sword, huh? But if I go back now one more into this categories and then go back into this menu, then you see it's automatically still equipped on like exotic. So I can just go into this menu, go back in exotics where I was, and bam. Luckily there's not too much equipment of exotics, so it's not a big deal. It's just a minor inconvenience, but something to like point out. The same for armors, of course. Then we have evolution weapons, which are the Raviente weapons. Raviente weapons and tower weapons are pretty hard, including like Zenith weapons. The end game weapons, like the very grindy weapons you get at the end game, and one of the most strongest equipment to acquire and use. And the Raviente weapons are very special in their making. So you have a Raviente weapon. You can craft Raviente weapons completely normal as other equipment, as you see here. Let me check. The Ophion sword, that is the Raviente weapon, of course. And if you just level these, they have, as you can see, also a sword. Like they have also a level icon, as you maybe noticed, in comparison to the other ones in this category. That is because Raviente weapons do have a level system too to them, which their own currency. As you can see here, extract G and GG. This is its own currency you can get from certain items, which mostly drop from Raviente, or which are currently available in the road shop in G rank. So if we check here, we can extract G and GG. This is pretty much the lower version of the currency, and this is the higher version, which is for the G rank weapons. That's why it's like this giant G and then the small G. So if you see here, you have different gems you can turn into points, and they have different values. You have power gems, mid power gems, secret power gems, heavy, true, and divine. My suggestion is don't touch the divine, true, and heavy ones inside of the first currency, because the GG currency only has the heavy, true, and divine ones available to turn into GG points. So you may be wasting points if you turn divine power gems into normal G ones and then don't have enough for the GG one. So you maybe want to look out for that, since the secret power gems and the divine power gems have the same value, as well as the mid and power and heavy and true. So there's no reason to waste your divine power gems at all. You can then choose how much you want to extract into points and then hit extract. You can also do auto extract, which takes every little gem you have of these gems and like turns it into points of your choice. So be careful using auto extract, because you may be using all the points or all the divine gems you wanted to use for the GG on the G1. So if you acquired this currency, then you can upgrade your Reviente weapons. And these level system just works the same as I just mentioned the G rank weapons, and the difference is that the Reviente weapons have 100 levels 3 times. So if you upgrade the Reviente weapons 100 times, you're gonna get the first branching path. As I said, Reviente weapons are a bit special, and they work with the preview feature, since they have branching paths after the levels. So after the first 100 level, you're gonna reach that first branching path where you can choose into which like branching you wanna put the weapon. You can either choose to have raw damage as preference, you have either raw elemental damage on the first stage, or like a kind of balance of it. Also, the balanced one has on top of it the long length version, so that is maybe something you prefer on top of it too. And then you can choose which one of these branching paths you want to go, and then it reverts back to level 1. After that, you do need to go another 100 levels and reach the next branching path, where you can choose again what you want to put into this weapon, like as their like next stage. Again, raw damage, elemental, a balanced version, or just like pure raw with like length increase, as you see here. Then after that, you also have the next stage, which is another 100 levels. And as you can see here, after you reach the 200 upgraded here, you have another 100 levels for the final Reviente upgrade, which is again another path. And here is the final decision you make for your Reviente weapon. So keep in mind that you don't want to do this grinding again if you do a Reviente weapon. So then we have the Zenith weapons, which are straightforward, just Zenith tier weapons from Zenith monsters. And then we have premium weapons, which are mostly just gacha and other event-related stuff like long-term play, etc. And promotional weapons. So nothing to worry about per se, unless you like get your hands on the tickets or something, or if you're like in an event server where there's events hosted, you probably get like over time some special items to make some of these. Something to keep in mind for later. Before we now move on, where it actually makes more sense to talk about, but before we go there, I just want to finish up the weapons and all non. So when we come to the weapons, when we come to the armors, I mean, there will be like a tier system with like tier difference. Like weapons have that too. There's a difference between weapons. So if I now, let me see. So if I go to a goo weapon now, an HR5 weapon, and look at the description, you can see that there's like a colored text. And this colored text means that this weapon has a specific tier and that it has a specific property or a special property. And these properties we're gonna talk about. Armors have that too, but weapons have this also, and we're gonna go over quickly over every tier, weapon tier we have, and what their special properties are, so you are online. What is maybe like Wolf doing, or how like the progression with the equipment kinda works in Frontier, because it's like a bit of chaos and over the top and a mess since the compression and everything is like kind of there. But most of you probably ignore like SP equipment, for example, because they're not sure what exactly they do or what their purpose is. And we're gonna talk about that. So we're gonna go over the effects now on the SP equipment, and then in the armor section it probably makes more sense about progression and other stuff when we go over the effects and skills. For weapons, we're gonna start with the SP weapons, which are in the first normal category to create weapons at the end of the section. SP equipment is literally equipment you unlock with HR5, and those are mostly recolored version of existing equipment with different properties. Like this one still has ice, for example, but if you look at some other weapon which usually has a different element but has now a different element. This one, for example, is normally a black-red version from Gravios, which has fire elemental, of course, but this one is an aggressivus SP, so it has the skin, is a recolored version of that sword, and has water properties. They can change up the weapons you know, not only looking badass, but also like changing their effects and their stats, and those weapons are very special and specific. SP equipment itself has very special purpose. The weapons are not that great actually. There is a limit how much you can upgrade them. Each SP weapon has pretty much 7 levels, and that's it. And the stats are not that great. Like, they're getting outperformed really quickly by other equipment, sadly. So, as cool as they look, as disappointing they can be. They do have the purpose that they're really easy to upgrade and very quickly to upgrade. And that's why they're meant for a special quick boost on top of their like special property. Also, SP equipment has very similar stats. So if you look here, these two raw SNS have the same exact sharpness and raw damage. And then when you look at like some weapons with the same element, do we have one we can use for example right now? Oh yeah, here. For example, we have the Frostbite and the Snowtail SNS, and both have ice, which is exactly the same stats, including their paranormal, like their abnormal, their abnormal status, sleep and paralysis. It's like the same exact stats. So no matter which SP weapon you do, you can pretty much choose which skin you want in this case. Like, it's actually fashion oriented. You just need to look out for whatever stats you want. Like if you want a fire weapon, a dragon weapon, or a mix element, then you need to look out for that. Beside that, it's literally just pure cosmetic, and they're pretty quick and easy to upgrade to the maximum level. And their purpose is pretty much when you reach Hunter rank 5, it's the first like difficult spike for most people in the game. Like, it's a very special rank before G rank and after high rank. Like, it's stronger than high rank, but it is before G rank. It is, it sounds complicated, but it's not what it is. It's like just like a in-between transition phase rank, which actually has a lot of Frontier exclusive content in terms of monster, and shouldn't be underestimated in terms of content. So if you're going through that, you need some equipment, and this SP equipment is technically meant to boost you a bit in there, or like getting you into the flow, and then doing the HR5 equipment afterwards and to progress further to G rank. Because as I mentioned, they get outperformed really quickly and really easily, and that's why they're so cheap and easy to make and have these very limitations. Speaking now of the special properties, we're gonna start with the SP as I mentioned, and the SP weapons do have the special property when you take them on HR5 quests or above, a Hunter rank 6 or G if you decide to torture yourself. Then these weapon gets like a small 10 true damage, like just 10 raw damage, that's it. Flat 10, and then 20% affinity on top of it. So they have the inherent skills of these two things when you take them on HR5 or higher quests. Then we have weapons which called Master Mark. They're indicated by a blue text. Since the texts are not translated yet, I will indicate or like tell you the color. So you can now, oh yeah, this is probably a Master Mark or an SP equipment, etc. The SP is like obviously very easy to spot. It says SP the level and in pink, like that's pretty straightforward. It also has always SP in the name, so there's nothing too mistaken here. And then we have Master Mark, which are indicated by blue text, a dark blue text, and those weapons are special type of weapons or like upgrade versions of event equipment usually, and those have the inherent skill of weapon handling. Weapon handling is just the 20% faster unsheath or sheathing speed. For the Raviente weapons, for example, it gets more interesting. Raviente's equipment are pretty straightforward too. They're pretty easy to distinguish from others, but they have a yellow text in the description, and those have first of all the special property to be leveled up 3 times, of course, the evolution upgrades, and then they on top of that you also have the property that Blade Masters are able to equip special sword stones which boost your attack damage by 20% in exchange for consuming 4 times the sharpness in return. So it is pretty hard to use that skill, or like this stone thing, but it's 20% increase in damage, so that's pretty neat, I guess. But you trade off sharpness, of course. And then heavy bowguns can use a special of 2 types of acid bomb, like ammo, which depends on which branching path you kind of used on the Raviente. And bow users have the ability to use bomb coating and strike coating. I'm not sure what they refer to strike coating here right now. I don't think I saw that before. A copy just under another name. But yeah, you can equip 2 more ammo type, bow type ammo. So keep a lookout for that if you have Raviente weapon equipped, or like a Raviente bow equipped. Then we have the hardcore versions of weapons. Hardcore monsters do unlock at HR5 too, and those are like very boosted versions. We're gonna go over them in a separate video, but all you need to know now, they have also equipment, of course, hardcore equipment, which you stumble across when you upgrade equipment over time, and then notice, oh, I need hardcore materials, and if they're on a hardcore tier, they usually have an orange text with HC letters in the description. This means they're the hardcore tier, and those weapons have the special property if you take them on a hardcore quest, which is like a separate quest you can do for the monster, that Blade Masters get +1 to the sharpness, and the gunners get +40% affinity. Then we have the Gushu, or the HR5 weapons, as you saw before, and they have obviously the red text I showed you in their equipment description. And those have very special effects. For Blade Master, they grant the fencing +1 skill when your health and stamina at max values. Your like HP and stamina bar is gonna start to blink, and I think in like some pinkish color, was it? And this means that the effect of fencing +1 on the melee weapon is actually available. Then light bows get the super rapid fire ability, and heavy bowguns get the heat cannon ability. Heat cannon is like a built-up Gravius laser you can shoot with your heavy bowgun, and it does like fire and artillery damage. So yeah, it's pretty fun to use. It's something you need to experience yourself. So try out a heavy bowgun from the good like HR5 tier to just see this beam skill. It's funny as hell. And then bows are enabled to use bomb coatings and can sheath their weapon very much faster, and on top of it they also get 10% more power coating damage modifier. So instead of 50% more damage, you do 60% more damage with power coatings. Then we have the next version, which are Tenran tier. Tenran tier is just an upgraded hardcore version of the HR5 weapons, the previous one. And in addition to the previous skills they have, they also get more skills. But the special property is here, you need to equip like 10 run armor level tier pieces to get some of these effects. So first of all, universal, like Blade Master and like gunner and bow users get all like attack and elemental status up. Blade Masters get when they use 2 10 tier, like hardcore HR5 armor tier pieces together with the weapon, then they get also sharpness +1, but this effect is very strictly restricted to Gushu quests, Supremacy quests, and G quests. Then gunners have increased critical range, and bow users' power coding is increased to 1.7. So from the previous 1.6 it goes up to 1.7. There's like 20% increase pretty much. So power coding instead of 50% is 70% damage increase. Then we have Supremacy tier weapons, which are also indicated by a red text. And the only difference is they have some visual glowing aura thing, but they have the same stats as the previous weapons. Then G Supremacy are also the upgraded version of the Supremacy weapons, but again, those weapons do have no special properties, just a visual difference and of course higher stats because it's like a stronger weapon, of course. Then we have the burst equipment, which are equipment from burst monsters. They have apparently the Wrath Awoken skill, or they state here it's the Wrath Awoken skill, which I have no idea what they refer to. But funny enough, if you look at the origin version, which is the final upgrade for Gushu weapons or HR5 weapons, then it says those have the Ishin +2 skill, which is the better version of the burst form version. So I'm not sure what they refer to here because I have no idea what's like the base skill. Ishin is like the skill that increases your critical modifier and critical damage. So I don't think there's any skill that's like previous or weaker skill than that. I could be wrong. There's like a plethora of skills in the game, and I'm not sure which skill they refer to, but just keep in mind there's like a skill on burst, which you maybe need to figure out, and origin has Ishin +2. Both are indicated by red text again, and you just pretty much need to use your brain. Oh, I killed this burst monster species. Well, I made his weapon. Must be a burst species weapon, right? Then G-rank weapons we obviously talked about. They have just the special property of leveling up to 50 times. But on top of that, which I didn't mention before, is that they have special slots. If you maybe notice that some slots on weapons have a different icon. Like if you go to G-rank weapons real quick and then look at the slots, you see that these slots are not round, they are square formed or like diamond shaped. This means that you can't put decorations into this weapon, but instead you can put sigils in there. We're gonna come to sigils later, but just keep in mind that if you see a diamond icon, this means you can't put decorations into this and only put sigils on this weapon. Because a lot of people get confused why they can't put in the G-rank weapons, for example, the normal G-rank decorations or something, because they're not made for this. There is a variation of this, which is a diamond icon with a square inside of it, and that means you can put either sigils or decorations in there. It's not as confusing as I make it sound. I'm really bad at explaining sometimes, but just keep in mind, diamond shape icon, sigils, round icon, decoration. Then we talked about the G finesse upgrades, and beside them being just like a higher version, of course they have also special properties. G finesse is indicated by a giant G in orange with text in the description, and the effects they get are the weapon handling skill and movement speed +1. And they get increased caravan points from quests, or like in general. You get like 20% more caravan points for doing stuff like caravan quests or caravan related things, right? So that is very handy if you grind in caravan points, and maybe something you want to look out for. If you want to grind caravan points, grab a G finesse weapon and go and hack through. Then we have Sky Corridor, quote-unquote Sky Corridor weapons, which are tower weapons, and these equipment is also very special. We're going to talk about them later, so there's no need to talk about them right now because they are very special in their regards. They're only available at this cat over here, the Tower Gear Fairline, so it's not hard to like mistake them for others. They do have an indicator in their description, which is like a greenish text. If you're looking out for that, if maybe you're inspecting another player and you, oh, which is this weapon from? Well, you could look at the description and, oh, it's green? Okay, it must be a tower weapon then. They have a very distinguished look, so it's not that easy to mistake them, but just a heads up. Then we have exotic weapons, and exotic weapons have the special properties that they have, as I mentioned, round icon with the diamond shape in it. So you can put either sigils on them or normal decoration slots. But on top of it, every weapon, exotic weapon, has the skill of speed eating included. So if you have a if you have an exotic weapon crafted and using it, then you notice you can actually speed eat now, because it's an inherited skill on those weapons. Very handy and very dandy. Then we have the prayer weapons, last but not least, and those are the Diva Defense special weapons. Those weapons have some very decent power or like stats. They're not great, but they're very decent, and they have the special property that they get better with the Diva event. Because the Diva event has a prayer week where you can choose a prayer skill or something. I'm not sure how exactly this all works. We need to go over it when it's finished and available in the game. But you can choose like prayer buffs, and those buffs interact with the Diva weapons too and unlock kind of their full potential. Which includes, last but not least, like attack up, elemental up, weapon features always being active for these weapons, weapon handling, movement speed +2, and sharpness up. So Diva weapons get very busted on Diva event weeks. So Diva weapons are also distinguished looking, so you can't pretty much mistake it when you know how the weapons kind of look like, but they indicated by a pink text inside of the description. Weapons pretty much. Now we can move on to the armors, because we have the same tier and different skill effects there too, but weapons also have some things to mention. First of all, we have the normal armors, of course, you can craft as the same as weapons. Then you have the transmog. Yes, this game does have transmog, as you maybe see in all my videos. I'm using a transmog every video pretty much. And then we have HR5 armors, G-rank armors, the refined G-rank armors, as I mentioned before, for the GX decorations feature. And then we have exotic, zenith, special, and premium armors. The difference between premium and special is that special armors have event focused, and I'm not sure where the guild thing comes from, probably also just special event stuff, equipment. And on top of this, like the SP armors and hidden armors, which actually are a sort of grind inside of the game. Like the hidden armors are very special, so I guess I'm gonna talk about them in the progression video more, probably, where we go over my mission sections, etc. But keep in mind that these hidden armors are a huge grind, but can pay out very well in the end. And SP armors I obviously mentioned before. So let's look at normal armors first. Normal armors are exactly what you expect. They're just your everyday armor in Monster Hunter, and you can also check out the upgrade paths as I mentioned in the weapon section. But on top of this, armors work a bit differently. It is an old-gen Monster Hunter game. So let's say you are hunting a Silver Rathalos. You want the Silver Rathalos armor. So naturally, you know, oh, it's an old-gen game, so you naturally know, oh, I need key materials to unlock certain recipes or equipment pieces in the Blacksmith, right? And then you kill Silver Rathalos, and you're looking through the list, and looking through the list, and looking through the list, and you're like, either I'm blind, or this must be a bug, right? There's no Silver Rathalos armor. Well, that is because you need the base armor of Rathalos to turn it into the Silver Rathalos armor. How this system works to upgrade armors: you can take lower tier armors to higher tier states for the game, like progression. You can pretty much, oh, I like this Katsu armor a lot. Then you can keep upgrading this armor to take it to you to higher levels to a certain limit. Some armors have limitations, but some armors like the HR5 armors can be taken to G rank level, for example, so you can take them all the way with you if you do them, but other armors have more limitations and just go so far. It works as the following. There's like very few exceptions, but the general thumb of rule is you have an armor. It has certain levels, like this one is when you craft it level 1 of course, and then when you upgrade it, it gets level 2, level 3, etc. Every 7 levels you get to the next tier, which is in the Katsu case here, either the U or S version. But as I say, there's like special cases for other things, like here you see after 3 levels we have like a choice already, but the general thumb of rule is if you get like an armor like the, what is a good example here? The Akura mail. So if you go to the Akura mail and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 levels, bam, then you get to the next tier upgrade. And as you can see here, you either go the F path or the U path. There's some slight visual changes sometimes, sometimes not, but the general difference is that it's like a different setup. It's a different set of skills, stats, and overall a different pathway to take on the weapon. Armor, sorry. And as you can see here, after that, if you upgrade the armor again 7 times, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, you get another tier upgrade. And I just mentioned this, but certain armors go that far and certain other armors go that far. It's depends on the armor. This one goes all the way to HS level, which is like the final upgrade of hardcore pretty much. And we're gonna go into this tier later on, like for the special properties section. But just keeping that in mind that you can use the preview feature, for example, to check out these armors beforehand, where they go, what the upgrades do. Like you can check firsthand, oh yeah, do I do F or U? Well, you can check firsthand which is like maybe more wolf for you, or which maybe has more skills you like or want, and how far it goes, if it's enough or not. So this is very handy for the preview feature, and these armors feature obviously different skill sets. This system is actually pretty nice. I enjoy this system a lot. It's a very nice system to encourage you to like craft certain armors, try certain armor sets out, because there's a lot of variety and build possibilities you can do, and it's pretty neat. I'm not the biggest mix set fan, but obviously because we have Transmog, it doesn't matter much as a fashion hunter myself. I will actually be tempted to do mix sets just because of this feature alone. So coming back now to the Silver Rathalos, keeping that in mind, subspecies armors usually are originating from the original armor. So if you're looking for a Black Gravios armor, a Black Diablos armor, or White Monobolos armor, or just the Rathalos Silver and Azure Rathalos armor, then you're gonna craft the Rathalos male. In this example, upgraded 3 times, and then you see the different branching paths for the Rathalos armor. You have the Azure Rathalos version, you have the high rank version, and you have the Silver Rathalos version. And as I just mentioned, they obviously have different stats and different skills. So you need to choose what you want to do with them, or where you want to take them. Again, use the preview feature to see where they go, how far they go, and if it's something you actually want to use. The tier upgrades are so cool because they're more rewarding upgrading your armor. Not only do you get more stats, but skills can actually change along the way. You can like get less negative skills, better skills, or skills entirely switch up and change up. You also get more slots eventually, like those are on the way. Just upgrading the armors, you need to check out if you maybe get more slots. So look at this. Here we get like on the, what is it, level 6 or something? No, level 7. You get like 1 slot in the Rathalos base armor mail, which is pretty handy, right? So it's very worth to check them out and see through them, because they are very damn fun to do. Then we have Transmog, of course, which is, I guess, straightforward for most people. You can just put a like armor model over another armor model. Very simple. Then you have the HR5 armors, the G rank armors, the exotic, zenith, special and premium armors. And the only ones we need to talk about are the SP armors. SP armors are very special because they don't have any inherent skills. As you can see here, there's no skill points in the SP armors. Just like the weapons, those armors are reskinned versions of the other armors you already encountered. But the difference is that they don't have any skills inherited. That is because these armors are, just like weapons, meant to easily be upgraded and easily boosting you to the HR5 shenanigans. Because the SP armors are using the SP decoration system. SP decorations, as I did say before, only go into SP decorations for the whole reason that SP decorations can give you up to 1 to 3 skills with 1 slot decoration straight up. And that is why this is actually insanely strong, and the reason why SP decorations only work on these equipments, of course. This means, on the other hand, on the contrary, that it is very customizable armor sets, and you don't need to settle for whatever this armor gives you. So you can craft the armor whatever you like looks the coolest or has like the defense, elemental defense you want, and then you can just go to the decorations and pretty much put whatever skills you like or want in their setup, which suits your playstyle. So that is like very nice for customization, but also using like SP armor pieces inside of like other mix sets, and then putting like, I don't know, you really want this 2 skills, but you don't have any possible way with your current set. Well, what can you do? Well, replace one of your armor sets, which doesn't impact these skills, with an SP armor piece, which has the slots for it, and then boom. You have put an SP decoration with exactly the slots, with exactly the skills, which gives you immediately the skills you want. Like, it is that simple. It is insanely customizable and insanely usable. The thing is, a lot of people skip building armor sets or just want to rush through the game, especially pre-G rank, because they think Frontier is just all about the fancy, flashy combat in the end game from Musos and Zeniths. Which is not true. The game is more than that. It's like any other Monster Hunter game, which its own like progression curve. You go from low rank to G rank over time, and it's not different than any other monster. Like if Monster Hunter 6 comes out now, obviously you don't want to like go into the game and rush in 1 hour through to the end game, right? Except you're like some insane speedrunner. But obviously you're gonna go through the game, learn the game, build sets, like progress slowly 1 by 1. Like section of the game, and then eventually get to the end game, because at the end game the content stops obviously at some point. So if you rush through, then you have way less from the game when you just will play it normally. Building sets is a very crucial and important part of the Monster Hunter series at all, and it is not different for Frontier. The difference is that Frontier has a lot more options and different things you can do due to its 12 years of content that flowed into this game over the time. So keep that in mind if you play the game. Take your time, don't get overwhelmed. It is very intimidating, but if you get behind the systems, the benefits you get from it can be tremendously different than when you just casually jump in and like, oh, well, HR5 is pretty ass, balance-wise, but if you actually took the time and looked into it, you maybe had like missed some options you could use to make your life 100 million times easier and just breeze through it. So very important, and I can't stress this enough. Frontier is a game you need to get into a little bit and look behind its mechanics and doors, because it can be overwhelming and intimidating and confusing for most players if they just casually jump in. But if you take the time to read a bit through, like get information through my videos or databases, guides, etc., help from Discord people, then you actually understand the things more, and they make a lot more sense, and it is a lot more fun to play because you have less problems. And who do like problems, right? With the SP things out of the way, we can obviously talk now about the special armor properties. Special armor properties, just like the weapons, are indicated in the description with the same colors as the weapon parts, so there's nothing wrong or needed for me to mention. Here, just the same as the weapons. So we're gonna go through all the tiers, of course, and their effects, because they're a little bit different than the weapons, of course. First of all, we have SP armors. As I mentioned, they have their little customizable, no skill, inherit skills, and SP decoration stuff. But on top of that, having one SP armor piece, and that is very important. If you use just one SP armor piece, you get 100 defense flat on HR 5 or higher quests. So if you're missing like a bunch of defense, you're like, oh damn, I can't power creep with this. I just need this, I need more 100 defense or something. Well, get an SP armor piece and boom, you're set. You get like 100 more defense on HR 5 and higher, where the problems actually start. Then we have the hardcore upgrades, which should be pretty self-explanatory. They're like hardcore versions of the armors, and those start to be a little bit more, not complicated, but their effects are a bit more tangled in. The hardcore armors do have the special property that you heal HP over time when you're above 50% max HP. This depends on whatever max HP you have, so if you have 150, then it's 75. If you have 50, then it's obviously 25, right? Pretty simple. So if you have a hardcore armor piece, then depending on how many pieces you have equipped, this regeneration effect will be better, or like faster, and have less threshold conditions. So if you have one piece only, then you need 150 stamina for one health regeneration every 8 seconds. If you have two armor pieces of hardcore tier, then you only need 125 stamina for 1 point every 4 seconds. Then you have 3 pieces for 100 stamina minimum, and then every 2 seconds. With 4 armor pieces, 75 stamina at least, for 1.5 seconds. And if you have a full hardcore armor set, then you get HP regeneration when you have at least 50 stamina minimum, with 1 HP every second. Then after the HC or the hardcore upgrade, you saw I had like an HS version, and that is like just the upgraded version, has the same regeneration effect as the hardcore armor, but on top of that, it also has 2 more additional effects. If you use these armors on the hardcore quests with a hardcore weapon or a 10 rand weapon or any higher tier weapon than that, together with the hardcore armor, then you get a defense bonus and a damage reduction on top of it. This means if you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 armor pieces of HS quality or tier, then you get 20, 40, 60, 80 or 100% defense bonus on top, plus the damage reduction of 10% up to 30%. Yes, percent. So this is very insanely strong. Then we're gonna move on to G rank armors, which also have special properties actually. When you take G rank armors to G rank quests, when you have 3 or more armor pieces equipped from G rank, then you get 3 true raw damage, flat, and the skill cap for your skills, because there's a skill cap in the game actually, that since the game has so much skills, I guess limiting the skill slots was a thing they needed to do. And I think it like the default cap is like 12 skills or something, I could be wrong. And yeah, with G rank armors, if you have at least 3 armor pieces of G rank quality, then the skill cap is increased by 1, and if you have 5, then it's increased by 2. G rank armors do have 3 tiers, as I mentioned, the G, GF and GX. And GX obviously has a property to be turned into the decoration with the corresponding skills they give. But then there's also beside that the GS and GP upgrades, which are upgraded versions of the HS armors, or like the G rank version of HS armors, which are, I think, just premium kit armors, like the premium armor upgrades, but those have obviously the effect from the HS on top of the G rank bonuses from the ones I just mentioned for the G rank armors. Then we have the Gushu armors, which are the HR5 armors, and those have this special effect that they can rank up your skills. So there's some skills which have different tiers, of course, like Critical Eye, or like just increasing your max HP, right? The HP up skill. And those skills can be boosted by a HR5 armor by 1 level for free. But that only applies if you have a certain amount of health and stamina at that point of time. Then these skills turn like in the skill menu blue and just increase by 1 tier. So if you have Critical Eye +3, you get Critical Eye +4. If you have on 1 armor piece at least 100 health and 26 stamina or higher. Doesn't sound as confusing as I make it. It's equip HR5, like equip an HR5 armor piece, like a Gushu armor piece, like Kirin for example, HR5 Kirin armor, and then if you have 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5 armor pieces equipped, then you get +1 on all these skills that interact with it, not only one. Like if you have Critical Eye and increase maximum HP, then both of the skills get like +1 tier up, if possible. You just need to have 26 stamina or higher on top of 100%, 90%, 83%, 76% or 70% HP minimum to have this effect active, corresponding to the armor pieces needed, of course, I just mentioned. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we have the Tenrin armors, which are the first upgrades of the HR5 armors, the Gushu armors. To the previous effect, they also have more bonuses, of course. And if you use these armors in combination with Gushu or HR5 weapons and their upgrade pass on Hardcore quests and HR5 Supremacy quests or G-Rank quests, then they also get attack bonuses, elemental and status upgrades, sharpness level +2 and critical range up for gunners when you have at least 2 armor pieces equipped. So if you have 2 Tenrin armor pieces, you get sharpness for Blade Masters and critical range up for gunners on top of elemental and attack bonus. And that depends on how many pieces you have. If you have 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5 armor pieces, and then you get 15, 30, 45, 60 or 80 attack bonus, and 2, 4, 6, 8 or 10% status and elemental build-up. Also a system we didn't talk about yet, but the SR system, which we're gonna talk in a separate video, of course, gets reduced by 1 rarity limit. Then we have the Supremacy armors, which don't offer anything additionally, but the HP threshold you need for activating the skill rank up is greatly reduced with those. So if you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 armor pieces, it reduces the health threshold to 67%, 34%, and 1%. And I'm not sure if 4 and 5 are unlimited or if this is just staying on 1%. But it doesn't matter because 1% is just 1 HP, right? So it doesn't make any difference. Like if you don't have HP, you're dead. Then comes the G Supremacy versions, which are no different. We have the Burst equipment, like the burst armors, which grant permanently the skill rank up effect when you have only 1 burst armor piece, so very important. Then we have the Origin versions, which are the final upgrades of Gushu armors normally, and they just boost the effect of the attack and attribute bonus you get before, but on top of that you only need 1 armor piece instead of 2 to get the sharpness up and the critical range up for blade and gunner armors. Then we have also exotic armors, which straight up just have the great luck effect. Nothing else, I think, special to them. Just great luck. And then we have hidden and tower equipment. There's also tower armors, just like weapons. And we're gonna talk about them in a second. And hidden we're gonna talk in a separate video. The only thing you need to note here is that hidden armors are massive grinds. And the most purpose they're used for is just turning them into some very special like decorations or gems with very specific setups and skills. They are used in some endgame setups, I think. I'm not the biggest expert on that, of course, but I know that they're very much grinded for their properties to be turned into some very decent decorations, I think. And in terms of armors, that is it. The only thing we need to talk now is there's one feature in the Blacksmith we didn't cover yet, and that is the try-on feature. So if you go to the Blacksmith and then into the armor section, you can, I don't know, try on an armor. Let's do the Hunter Mail. As you can see, the LS button on my controller is the try-on feature. So if I do that, you can preview the armor on your character. This means you can just preview the armor, but on top of it, if you go back to the menu here, as you can see on the top right middle path there, it says toggle preview and remove try-on and craft try-on. So you can either press R1 or L1, and if you do R1, you can craft the equipment you just tried on directly from here without going to the menus again. So you can craft them all or individually right from this menu. This is sort of like, I think, like a prototype for the wishlist feature probably, or some sort of wishlist feature. And it's not as good as I wish it was but it's also there, and nice to mention, I guess, that it's some sort of mechanic. And you can just try on armors and then craft them directly here. Like, you don't need to craft them right there. If you maybe have some decisions, issues, or you're not sure yet, you can do that. And you can also just remove the try-ons and then put another one in there. Which is not necessary because you can just put any other try-on over another try-on. Like, you're not locked into it. Like, if I try this one on, then I can just, like, do this one on top of it. It's like, no difference, right? And that is all we need for the armors. Then we can talk with the Master Phelan on this side here, which is, as I said before, mostly for your partner equipment and cat decorations. Because cats do have decoration slots, which gives them skills, their own little skill setups. And yeah, I know cats are hated by most people because they're not as helpful for combat as they were like in other Monster Hunters, but I like it. I like doing like some little setups for my cat and giving him some skills and taking him with me on quests. Don't judge me. Then you can craft the equipment, of course, just as always. And on top of that, you have two more options on him, which are the RNG weapons and sigils. RNG weapons is also more like a gimmick feature than being helpful at all. You can, exactly what it says, RNG weapons, which looks kind of funny, but there is limits to this, of course. You can't just get like some, if you super 1% RNG luck, some insanely busted Zenith tier RNG weapon or something. That's not how it works. There's some limits how much you can get for certain sections, like sharpness, etc. But it's kind of fun. I wish it was a bit more built out, but it's like pretty neglectable because they get outperformed pretty quickly. If you're lucky, you maybe get something like this, and then you can actually use this for a while. Like, look at this. I have a dragon blade with 50% affinity, do 300 dragon and 422 raw on top of purple sharpness. That is insane, right? Including a slot. It is insane, yeah, but it gets outperformed at some point very quickly by other equipment, so it's not really that worth it. And it's RNG, so you maybe need to roll a few times to get what you want. And as you can see here, it either needs like elder materials or the special cat's favorite item. Which, yeah, allow charm proof is not easy to farm. But it's a neat little thing to play around with, and maybe you get some lucky and your, I don't know, your HR5 just starting out, you got your first items, you don't have enough to make a good weapon yet, so you just roll this. You get some good weapon you can actually progress with. Can happen, but it's not as cool as I wish it was. Then we have sigils. Sigils is, as I mentioned before, very special decorations for your weapon only. It's like kind of like in Japan, it's like a Japan culture thing where you put like sigils for protection, like a talisman, right? It's like a paper sheath with symbols on it, like to seal bad ghosts and stuff away. This is like kind of the sigils. You just glue them or stick them on your weapon, and then you get special effects. They only go into sigil slots, of course, and those sigils have very special effects besides just giving you flat stat increasements. They can range from giving you an attack roll boost damage on Sundays to letting you doing the sleep mode anywhere on the map and getting the benefit of restoring health just like you would sleep in the camp. Yep, you heard right. That is sigils. Sigils can range from flat stat increasements to crazy ass effects, or like effects that can maybe change up a little bit of playstyle. So they're pretty cool. And how to get them is you have this different recipes here, and it's RNG. Alright? Straight up, it's Gamba. So if you're unlucky, you maybe need to roll 100 times to get what you want, or decently want, and then end up using a lot of materials. How this works is you have like different recipes, which is usually the more common materials, rare materials, and very rare materials of a monster, which you need to use as like base materials. And you can just see like a little preview for predicted effects. Very keep in mind, these are predicted effects. These are not guaranteed effects. If it says like, oh, this gives you Alice piercing, an upswing, or attack, it doesn't mean you get at least one of the 3 effects. You can get one of the 3 effects or more, but it's only the predicted effect. So if you're unlucky, you don't get any of it, of course. It is Gamba. So if we look at this now, I don't know. We have here Carapacion on Monday, right? This basically, I think it just means that you get more damage when there's Carapacion-based monsters in the area, or there's you playing on the Monday. Yeah, sounds weird, but it is what it is. And if you click on this recipe here, then you see you can choose how much you want. This influences how much materials you need to sink into this, so keep that in mind. So if I choose 2 or 1, it's different. So if I choose 2, then obviously I need the base materials. This one is the first recipe, the A recipe, so it means just common materials. I don't know, I use one of the Kutku Excellent Scales and Kutku Bone. And then you need to fill up the percentage bar on top. So as you maybe know, Monster Hunter World, there's like this Elder Melder where you need certain points to craft some other stuff. This is kind of the same. You put in materials until you reach the percentage bar full. And this depends on how much you're crafting at the same time. So if you craft 1 sigil, then you need 100%. If you craft 2 sigils, you need 200%, as you can see here. This depends on how much materials you put in here. Some materials are more worth than others. You can't like preview sadly how worth it is. You can just put in and then see how much you get. Like I put 10 LG Monster Bone. Oh, that's 10%. You obviously need to look out for the slots. You have only a limited time of a limited amount of slots you can put materials in, so you need to balance it out. Yeah, just put 140 of these in. Bam. 200%, and then we can confirm the materials and roll for our sigils. Well, we did got the Carapacion effect as the predicted effects, and then you can choose if you want to keep this sigil or if you want to send all of them to your box. As you can see, I got Carapacion +4 and Saturday +3, and the other one is Ballista Saver and Monday +9. So, yeah, you need to check on Farias, I think, for the skills, because they're very specific and very special. Do Farias even have this? I'm not even sure if Farias have the sigils listed up, but the sigils have like very varying effect, so you need to like look out for that. They can be equipped just like decorations from your box too, or so if you're like looking here, brand sigils or remove sigils, you can just search your weapon with the sigil slot and then put them in. You can see also the descriptions, but obviously they're not translated. But if you want to like translate them yourself for the time being, you can do that to see, oh yeah, this does that, or to get this general idea what it is. But something like Saturday or Monday should be pretty straightforward. You get raw damage on these days, pretty much like 10 raw damage or something. It's not much, but it is something. They can be freely removed and branded, they're just like decorations, so don't worry about like destroying them or being tied and pretty much set on one. And obviously you can also sell them in the sigil section on the equipment box. That's all to that. Pretty simple, pretty straight. And then we have the Tower Feline Cat. Tower Feline Cat is simply just for the tower gear. Tower gear, as again, I'm not the biggest expert on like endgame builds or whatever. I just build whatever I like. Usually I'm a fashion hunter. I enjoy games that way the most. I don't like being restricted to meta builds or something. I just build whatever I want. And tower equipment is on tow with Reviente weapons, but less grinding, I think. I could be wrong in this. So people which actually do this endgame grinds can correct me here, but I know that like when it comes to end the game equipment, it's either like tower or Reviente weapons usually, or some Zenith weapons of course. The special properties of tower equipment is that it's very customizable. Tower armors have their own decorations, of course. The tower sigils, you have tower decorations, sorry. You have tower decorations you can make for tower equipment, just like SP decorations. They only go into tower equipment, and same for tower sigils. They only go on tower equipment and are the same as normal sigils, just for tower. But what I mean with customization now is if you like take a weapon here, let's take the painkiller for example. And as you can see, they don't cost any money, they cost just material. If you go now to the upgrade and then go here, you can see that you have completely different menu than what you would have from normal upgrade. As you see, you have an upgrade item cost, or where it says 0 to 300. This means you can have up to 300 points invested into this weapon to customize it how you want. So if I do sharpness level a 1 up, that's cost me 20 points. Bam. And then I can just keep increasing attack over and over again until I fill up the points pretty much. So these weapons are very customizable. There's also versions for like abnormal status effects, etc. So you need to like decide yourself what you want to turn this weapon into. It is like highly customizable equipment, and there's obviously some setups for certain equipment on endgame builds when people suggest builds to you, meta builds. But just go with it, I guess. Just try it out, see where it leads you, and trial and error until you find something that you're happy with, right? Very customizable, very good. And the last option we have here on the cat is the change type, which is for bow guns. You can like change the bullet speed on light bow guns and on heavy bow guns, pretty much. That's it. And on bows though, you can actually change, like on tower bows, you can actually change what arc type shot you want and what charge type you want on what level. So that is very damn cool actually, the customization on bow. I'm not sure how much it makes difference on the bow guns, because I've never used bow guns, but to choose if you want pierce, rapid or spread on tower bow guns, bows is like huge to me. That is actually a huge feature in terms of customization, and kind of reminds me of Monster Hunter Tri when you had like the 3 sectional bow guns where you could like customize them even more than what you can do so normally with bow guns. And it's like, I love customization. It gives you a lot of freedom to just play the game how you enjoy the game, and it's lovely. The last NPC though is the workshop store lady, and she has, as I said before, she has actually a combination of combo shop and general store in here too, so you don't need to run back to the let's say the square for the general store or combo shop if you want something from them, but yeah, I guess it's there for convenience. But what she can also do is, like the older Monster Hunters, she has the basic equipment you can buy for just money without spending any materials. You can like craft the base ones, but also this menu gets expanded as you rank up. So you get like stuff like GX equipment over here you can buy, which maybe a lot of people don't know, but you can just buy basic GX equipment over here from her and use that without crafting anything. So you can just, you know, just go in there and then craft something without grinding it all the way. Like if you want like, oh, I want the Rave GX decoration, well, craft this item and then turn it into a G rank decoration. That's simple, right? Don't need to upgrade the entire armor. It is obviously limited. There's only a few of them, not all of them. Some base equipment. But the other feature she also has is the storage, the warehouse system. So, this system, I'm not exactly sure how it exactly works. All I know is that it's like an extra storage unit where you can put in items or equipment to store separately from your equipment box. But on top of this, you maybe notice that there's sometimes messages where it says, oh, this stuff goes into the temporary storage, which is this one here. I'm pretty sure it's this one. So if you go and get the message that you have stuff in your temporary box because your box is full, your normal box is full or something, you probably want to check out the gift storage, because I'm pretty sure it's in here what you can get. And yeah, check it out and let me know, because I don't have an example right now I could use. And other than that, you have the storage for yourself, where you can store up items and equipment for whatever reason. You can let me know if this is like an old system. There's probably some people who actually know what this is for, because I myself have no idea what the original purpose was. Maybe it was like a way to store equipment here before maybe the item box was available, because I know the Blacksmith looked differently. Maybe there was no item box back then and it was just her or something. I don't know. Let me know if you know more about this. You can store items here for whatever reason. They did have a limited usage normally. How this got re-implemented by Stratic and Wish, you have unlimited uses pretty much. So, yeah. You don't waste any. As you can see here, you have like, where's the message? Oh no, not buying. Sorry. Extra storage, use item storage. Yeah, as I see here, it tells you, oh yo, you have a usage limit, and extra storage can be used up to 10,000 times, but this doesn't reduce if you actually use it. So don't worry. For what I observed right now, it's unlimited use, so you can just use it freely if you want to store something. I mean, maybe there's some people who like to organize stuff more. Like if you have some specific items which you just want out of your item box, or like have quick access to, and you don't have space, even in your extra box maybe, where you can do the same thing technically, then yeah, go for it, I guess. But it's there. Maybe you have a use for it, or know the original use for this system. Maybe it's an outdated system they just never removed in the first place. I don't think there's more to talk about actually now about the Blacksmith and armor related stuff to Frontier, and we pretty much finished that section. This is a long recording video, so this will take a bit to cut down, but shall be fine. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this and didn't got too bored, or I didn't fuck it up too much in explanation, because yeah. Also, sound settings I hope are totally fine and didn't like screw over completely, and I sound normally, hopefully, because again, new setup, less technical issues now, and hopefully it just works. I'm just glad I can be back with videos. We still have a few things to cover we need to take care of. I'm not sure if this is the last video before Christmas, but if it is, then I love you all. Thank you for being here. Enjoy your Christmas. Have a wonderful festival at your home with your family. Stay clean, stay safe, stay healthy, and enjoy your presents. I'm gonna see you all in the next video, whenever that is. And have a good time. Have a slide into the new year, a good one. And Bye bye, my name is Saf, and you have a good one. I see you on the next stream, Discord, or video.